Hi everybody, welcome to Best of British Blackwell. Today we are going to be cooking a special treat. We're going to be making McDonald's style Big Macs. Now this was the losing option on the latest viewers vote, but to celebrate reaching 500 YouTube subscribers this weekend, I thought I would just go ahead and make both dishes anyway because they both got quite a lot of votes. So come over, have a look at the ingredients and let's make a start. So here are our ingredients. Quite a lot of ingredients actually to make something which looks as simple as a Big Mac. But let's go through them. So we've got some burger buns here. Obviously sesame seed on top. These are the closest I could get that look like a Big Mac bun. There's a little trick that you do with these to make them give you that bun in the middle of the Big Mac there, which I'll show you a little bit later. We have got some iceberg lettuce and some onion. I'm using a white onion because that's what McDonald's use. We've got some Aberdeen Angus beef mince here. I'm not 100% sure what type of mince McDonald's use. I know that they use British meat, but I'm going to give it a go with this 10% fat beef mince. We've got some bog standard burger cheese here, very cheap from the local supermarket, kind of looked the most like the cheese that McDonald's tend to use. Now let's move on to the ingredients for the sauce, because obviously the secret sauce, or they call it a secret sauce, but the ingredients are quite easy to find actually. The sauce, these are the dry ingredients, so you've got paprika, garlic and mustard, onion, sorry, so paprika powder, garlic granules and some onion powder. Then you're going to add to that some white wine vinegar. You're going to need some mayonnaise, you're going to need some yellow mustard, and you're going to need this. Now this was a little bit tricky to come by. This is a sweet pickle relish. This is basically dill pickles and cucumbers which are turned into a bit of a chutney. I actually saw this in Poundland a few months ago, but I managed to pick this up on Amazon for a couple of quid, and it's the key ingredient. Finally, we've got some pickled cucumbers or dill pickles here, which we're going to add to the burger on the top. First things first, we're going to get our patties ready into the shape that we want them, and then we're going to move on to the sauce. So let's go on to the next stage and get these patties ready. Okay, so let's start with these burgers. Now, a couple of things that I've done here is I have made myself some greaseproof paper sheets, which are about 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters or 10 by 8. And as you can see, what we're going to do is they fit around this burger press quite nicely. Now we are going to use the burger press, but we're also going to shape these with our hands as well, because McDonald's burger patties are very, very thin. I'm going to be kind of finishing them off by hand, and I'll be placing them on the greaseproof paper and layering them on top of each other. So cut yourself some squares out first. We get our mince ready, make sure our hands are nice and clean. We're going to be doing all of this by hand. The burger press I'm just going to grease up a little bit because it can stick sometimes. So a little bit of fry light in there so it doesn't stick. And to start off with, just grab yourself, I would say about a golf ball size amount of mince. That's what you're aiming for here. Give it a bit of a squeeze, bring it all together. Work the burger patty together so it's not going to fall apart. There's no other ingredients in this. McDonald's make it very clear that the only thing they use is beef. It's all beef burgers. So get it into a rough size ball here. I'm going to get one of my pieces of greaseproof paper, get my burger press and press down very, very hard. And it's just lost its shape a little bit, but this is where the hand kind of crafting comes in a little bit more. So we're going to put a little bit more pressure than that, push it down, shape it out a little bit, and that is probably getting on for around about McDonald's size burger patty. Actually, I'm not too displeased with that. However, I'm finding that it's falling apart a little bit. So what I'm probably going to do is start again with that one, maybe add a little bit more meat to it because it's probably going to shrink a tad, and really work the meat together so it forms a really decent solid patty that's not going to fall apart when you start to cook it. So let's have another go. It's all about getting it right, so you're not going to always get it right first time. give it a good push with that burger press. There we go. I reckon that one's going to be a little bit better. And then we're just going to give it another turn and pat with our hands. And actually, there we go. I'm quite pleased with that. So what we're going to do now is place that on the greaseproof paper there, move on to our next one. I'm going to be making a total of 8 Big Macs today. 4 Big Macs today, so we're going to need 8 of these burger patties. There we go. There are our burger patties. As you can see, I haven't got 8 here. I've managed to squeeze out 7. So it looks like I'm going to be having 3 Big Macs and a quarter pounder with cheese. But not to worry. As you can see, they're roughly the same size. They're not completely perfect in terms of a circle shape, but then I find that the McDonald's patties aren't really perfect. It's about the thickness that is important here. So what we're going to do now is put these in the fridge till we're ready to use them. It's also going to firm them up a little bit so they're easier to work with when we're frying. You add nothing else to these other than a little bit of seasoning when we cook them, but I'll show you that a little bit later. Let's move on to the McDonald's sauce. Okay, so let's make a start on this wonderful Big Mac sauce. Now, none of the ingredients to this are a secret. I don't know why people think this is a secret recipe. You can Google this and the head chef from McDonald's actually shows you how to make this. What we're going to do is we're going to go in with our mayonnaise first. We're going to go in with all of our wet ingredients, and you start with 4 nice big heat spoons of mayonnaise. One more for luck. There we go. So there's your mayo. It's going to be 4 parts of mayonnaise to 1 part of relish. So we'll just roughly guess. There you go. You can see the amount that I've put in there. It's kind of 4 to 1. And then we want 1 of the American style mustard next to that as well. That looks about good to me. Final wet ingredient is the white wine vinegar, which obviously adds a little bit of acidity to this sauce. That's in there. Stick those ingredients to one side, and we go straight in with our dry ingredients, which are obviously the paprika, garlic and onion. And then let's give that a mix, and hopefully this should come together to form that sauce that we know and love. Now, immediately what I can see is that there's not quite enough paprika in here. So the paprika's only in here really to add the colour and give it that kind of beautiful pink kind of texture that we're used to. So let's get a tiny little bit more paprika. What we want this for is its colour. So in with a little bit more. And this part of the process is always going to be a little bit of trial and error. So getting it just as you want it. So you need to taste it, you need to make sure that you've got enough garlic in there, that you've got enough onion in there. If you've got too much, then you can dampen it down a little bit with some mayonnaise. And I'm going to go with just a tiny little bit more because it's still a bit yellow for my liking. We want it to be that beautiful kind of orangey colour, isn't it? The Big Mac sauce. So here we go. Just keep working it in. As you can see, slowly but surely we're getting to that beautiful Big Mac sauce colour. And it's at this stage that I'm going to go in with a spoon and just give it a taste. Yeah, that's very, very good. I would say almost exactly like it is exactly like the Big Mac sauce. All I'm going to do now is cover this over with some cling film till I'm ready to use it, and then we're going to now focus on prepping out burger buns ready to make the Big Macs. So another thing that you can do to prep just before you start putting all of this together is start chopping your lettuce, onions and dill pickles here. The whole idea of making these Big Macs, I mean, you wouldn't kind of make these as your normal kind of day-to-day dinner. They're something to have when friends are around, so they're, you know, a little bit kind of quirky, a little bit retro. So you don't want to be kind of slaving, so you can prepare things beforehand. I wouldn't normally chop lettuce and kind of leave it in the fridge, but because I'm going to have people around today, I want to get as much prep done as possible. beautiful. So let me show you what we're going to do, and I'm going to start off really with this onion. So the reason we use a white onion is it's a lot sweeter than a standard onion. The standard onions, when they're raw, like McDonald's use them, will go quite bitter quite quickly. So what we do with this is peel it. We're not going to be using a great deal of this, so let me take this to one side. Then I'm going to use quite a thin knife here, and I'm really going to be chopping this very, very fine. Hopefully you can see that I'm making some very, very thin slits in this onion, because you don't want huge pieces of onion in there. You just want tiny little cubed pieces, which is exactly what McDonald's do. Then we get a slightly bigger knife here. Just cut down the middle. Another cut in there. Beautiful. And then we're going to start to dice this up, and hopefully you can see we're getting some tiny pieces of onion in there, and that's absolutely perfect. That's exactly what you want. Not huge pieces, tiny little pieces of onion. Once you've chopped those up, you can put those to one side. I'm just going to stick them in a pot like this, and we're going to be sprinkling those on to the burger a little bit later. Okay, so onion's done. Now we're going to move on to the lettuce, and the trick with the lettuce is to actually cut this as fine as you can as well. You don't want huge amounts of this, so what I'm going to do is cut a side of this lettuce off, just like that. We'll put this to one side, and then much like the onion, you can just take this top leaf off there. That's not so pretty, that's not so bad. A little bit brown. Again, nice sharp knife. And then what we're going to do with this is get this as thin as we can as well. So really thin slivers of lettuce here. As thin as you can go, really. And what you're looking for is that kind of finish. That is absolutely perfect. Now the dill pickle is very straightforward. I'm really demonstrating this so you know what it kind of looks like. This is not everybody's favourite thing, in fact. I know lots of people that when they get a Big Mac they just take these out, and there's a bit of a trend at the moment to throw them at people because they seem to stick to people's heads, which is quite funny. All I'm going to do with this is take the ends off. And like I said, these are actually pickled baby cucumbers, but they're kind of all the same thing. They taste pretty much the same. And all you're looking to do with this is just slice them exactly the same length, if you can. There you go. Thickness, about perfect. Slice them up. And again, it's all about preparation, so you don't want to have to mess around with this later when your friends are around. Throw them into a little pot, sorry. And then put them in the fridge, ready to use them in a minute. Okay, so let me show you the trick when it comes to prepping these buns. As we know, the burger, the Big Mac is like a club burger, so it's got bun on the top, bun on the bottom, one in the middle as well. So what we're going to do is take these burger buns that we bought in Waitrose recently. I think they look quite like a McDonald's bun, although they're not perfectly circular like the McDonald's buns are. We'll just cut this straight down the middle. So that's our bottom, that's our top. And then what we'll do is slice very thinly, hopefully you can see, very thinly. I just want to take the bottom off of this burger here, on here, very thin. And then we should get two middle pieces out of this bun now. So there's one. So what we can do is put that on there and put that on there. And then we take the top off of this as well. And then you reduce the amount you're wasting, really, because cutting these is a little bit wasteful. I'm sure McDonald's have a very clever way of avoiding this waste. There we go, we've got another middle there. So in the end, all we've actually wasted is the top and the bottom of the burger. So again, cut this one in half, stick that middle in there, put that on the top, and there we've got three pieces of bread for a burger bun. Quite happy with that. So I'm going to finish prepping these up now, and then we're going to start cooking these patties. Okay, so we're now ready to start cooking our burgers. Just before I do, got our burger buns here. I'm just going to toast these up under the grill. So I'm going to put them on the grill, under the grill like that, and just brown them off. Don't forget that they're there. And as for cooking these burgers, very simple really. Got a nice hot plate here, which is what McDonald's would use. Get one of your burgers. I'm going to use a little bit of fry light oil. I'm not sure what type of oil the guys at McDonald's would usually use. Just going to turn it down a tad. I don't want these to burn. And I'm going to place them straight onto the griddle. We'll do 4 at a time. And then the only thing we do to these is season them. Some salt and some pepper. Okay, so these have had about 2 minutes on their side. Turn them over. They smell really good. They smell very, very meaty, obviously, because there's only beef in here, nothing else. And they look really good too. They're staying together really nicely, which is brilliant. So I've turned them over. Season this side as well. Don't want them tasting too bland. We'll give them another 2 minutes on this side, and then we'll be ready to put this burger together. Okay, so we're going to start putting these burgers together now. As you can see, our buns are beautifully toasted there. What we're going to start off with on the bottom is some sauce. These are the bottoms of the burgers. We're going to put some sauce. You don't want to scrimp on this. You've put a lot of effort making these. Get it completely spread out. Then you go in with a bit of onion. The trick here is getting it evenly distributed. I'm sure the McDonald's guys have some sort of technique for getting everything nice and evenly distributed across these burgers. And then we go in with some lettuce. And then strangely enough, I would have always thought, and if someone had asked me to just guess, I'd have said that the cheese goes on the top, but on a Big Mac it doesn't. The cheese goes on the bottom here. So one slice of cheese there, another slice of cheese there, and then we repeat the process again for the middle. Lots of sauce. Some more onions. And then we get some lettuce. And then we come in with the burgers. There's been a little bit of shrinkage with my burgers here, but I'm still quite happy with them. So one on there. We put another one on there, and another one on there. Try and level that up a bit. And then we start to sandwich these together. So one goes on there like that. This is where they're all going to fall over, isn't it? One goes on there like that. Let me grab my cloth. We get our dill pickles. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Nice bun on the top. Sorry about the children crying in the background. I did tell you we had a full house today. And those burgers are pretty much done. Let me grab the camera and give you a bit of a close-up. So there we have it. These are my Big Macs. As you can see, they're not absolutely perfect, but they look pretty much like the real thing. I'm quite pleased with them. The sauce looks pretty good. The lettuce looks pretty good. The burgers certainly smelt lovely. So let's see. Let's dish the whole thing up and see how it turns out. So here we have it, guys. I've just served these burgers up with some very basic oven chips, which I've kind of fried off. And hopefully you can see we've got that beautiful Big Mac burger there. Hopefully you can see that. Really easy to make. Tastes just like the real thing. You can never get it to look the same, but I mean, a Big Mac doesn't look like a Big Mac when you get it out of McDonald's anyway and bring it home, does it? So enjoy. Thank you for watching.